Yo, it's the Talk with B podcast, posting every Tuesday, where we talk about anything and everything, hosted by Branden-Lee, aka B. Lee. Come on and tune in with me on all social media platforms so we can have a talk. All right, guys, it's B. Lee here, and of course, you heard my first episode. We had one of the writers from We Got the Funk, and now today, I have Worlds HD, who came on here with us today. He's over in Spain, so I wanted to give him a good thank you for getting on here. Right now, it's about 12 midnight for him here on my time. It's roughly about 7:30. So for him to come on this podcast, I mean, we really got something good to talk about, right? So I met him originally. So Worlds, I met you just by playing off of video games, over maybe 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, man. There's some numbers there, but they can mean anything. It was a long time.
A very, very long time. So we actually hooked up online here. Don't mean that in a weird way. Been friends for so long, and that's the kind of thing that I like about video games and social media. Because if you listen to my last podcast before, you will know that I use social media as a timeline. But me being able to connect with somebody that I don't know on a video game and still be friends with them for years and years and lives across the country is freaking amazing. So it kind of reminds me of the movie Player One. You remember? You know that movie?
Yeah.
You don't know who you're freaking talking to over there on the other side of the mic. Now, luckily for me, you was actually a dude, and you're really cool and down to earth. So that's what's up.
Appreciate
it.
Yeah.
So what's the weather like? Like over here in PA right now, the weather is roughly, I think it's 60, 50 degrees. We're getting in the springtime. What's the weather like over there?
I mean, we can start with small talk, or let's get straight into it, man. Because I know the crowd ain't looking to find out what the weather is like over here, man. So let's get straight into it. So look, all right. The weather. First, I'm gonna answer your question. The weather over here is weathering, man. It's weathering. There's weather. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Spain, right? So you'd imagine there's lots of ice and snow. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're talking about weather.
They ain't trying to listen to no weather, right? So let's get into it, right?
So let's get into it, right? So we talking about weather. So what's up with cloud seeding?
All right, you want to talk about weather? All right. Yeah, you want to talk about, was it HARP? HARP, yeah.
Oh, are you trying to get back to Project HARP? You know that thing got faded out a long time ago.
There's two websites for HARP, right? There's the official website, and then there's the unofficial website. Depends which one you want to learn about, I guess. But they're both there on Google. Just check it out. Type in HARP. You'll see the official website above, obviously in the Google results, and then you'll see the unofficial website down below. Yeah, man, there's a lot of crazy stuff in this world, right? Like the world we live in these days, everything's a conspiracy. Everything's conspirafact. Or, I don't even call anyone a conspiracist anymore. I call it conspirafact, because this shit is just seems to be day to day, year to year, is more and more things are becoming true and less science fiction and more fiction. So, yeah.
I can agree. But there's a thought of things. I know you're saying that, the conspiracy people are the fact tellers or the facts people now. But there's still everything that we can always question. That's one of the main things I love, being who I am, and I've got passed through school because I was good at sports. I started to look up my own stuff that I wanted to find out later on in life. And and I was stuck in a small circle for a long time. I started my company and whatnot, and it gave me the flexibility and freedom to start traveling. I was closed-minded. For instance, I'll keep talking about Puerto Rico because I've been there the last 6 months. And I thought everybody in Puerto Rico was your complexion, light skin, with that yellow. But I found out that
this is light skin,
not light skin, but you know what I'm saying, lighter than me. All right, you an in-house slave, I'm an out-house slave. So the freaking I thought they were, and then I found out they was dark. There was some darker than me, some of my complexion, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? And then
you mean Wesley Snipes level dark, right?
Wesley Snipes level dark, right? So it kind of mind blew me just to know how big the world really is, and stop seeing so close minded. I actually forgot where I was going with this. What were we talking about? Project Heart. Yeah.
You're good, man. Look, the way we're gonna do this is we're just gonna let it flow, man. There doesn't need to be too much direction. We're just gonna let it fucking
Well,
happen
that's what it's
naturally, man.
all.
That's the best way.
That's
Yep.
the best part. That's what's all about the podcast. You
Yeah,
come on
yeah,
here and shoot the shit and talk. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man.
But
So look,
this is basically what we're kind of chatting about here is the world that we live in is kind of like the veil has been kind of pulled over our eyes since COVID. You know, a lot of people has kind of awoken and woken up to the facts of life. I was always awake when it comes to this world. And you know, when it comes to researching my own stuff, I like to do my own research, you know, at the end of the day.
right?
Um, I mean, Google is, I'm very much into SEO, so I like to kind of do a lot of search engine optimization stuff as one of my jobs. But, you know, you tend to learn when you do this kind of stuff, you tend to learn that everything is hidden from you. You know, Google is it's just the same as YouTube. You're not really going to see the real world when it comes to these kind of search engines. You've got to actually do your own research a little bit deeper on search engines like DuckDuckGo, you know, or Yandex. These are, you know, where you're going to find the real answers. Um, but yeah, man, like it's been a long time, you know, that I've known you. I mean, many years, and I think it's crazy as well, right? Like to come from a gaming background, meeting someone online, many years ago to actually like, you know, putting a face to the name and like properly, you know, being friends for many years. It's an incredible thing, man. And obviously we've known some people as well that's come and gone over the years, which I'm sure we both keep in mind every now and again. But yeah, like this world is a bit of a conspiracy kind of crazy thing going on right now. I think you'll agree, like especially all the stuff going on with what is it? I mean, the biggest thing that everyone's talking about is the Epstein, right? With the Epstein files.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, yeah. And lots of crazy shit going on in the world. I mean, I don't know if you've seen they spotted him like the other day. Like they actually spotted him. He was on pictures and on video. They actually found him alive in a car going past. And so like a lot of people right now are, you know, saying, is he actually dead? Like, or is he really like, you know, just hiding out under a different persona? There's
Um,
also an interesting thing, bro. Like, I mean, we played a lot of Fortnite back in the day. Do you remember?
right, yeah, yeah.
Did you know that Epstein actually has been tracked to his Fortnite account and his Fortnite account is still active? Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
None of
It's
his
still
kids or
active.
none of the younger kids are still playing on his account.
Well, I mean, the fact is, like, I don't know if you've ever heard about his potential kid. You know those two fucking idiots, the Island Boys. Remember those
Yeah,
two?
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure everyone's heard of Island Boys. There's
Right.
two musicians, and they've got the crazy dreadlocks, and they're white. Those were supposedly his real kids. You know, hence the name Island Boys, right? That's why they're so weird, like absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, fucking disgusting world that
Well,
we live in, and
what
yeah,
what you're saying is really like I wanted to touch. I'm saying as I'm not looking away from you making notes because it's right off the top of our head, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
one thing you mentioned was like Epstein, people seeing him, and it's like kind of to me seeing is believing, right? So I mean everybody says they got videos of Bigfoot and everything like that, and but we never really see it. You know what I'm saying? So like, is it really a thing? Like we think about like going even like back in the day, like mermaids. I love mermaids for whatever reason. I just love mermaids because they're like
okay,
mystical. We don't know what they are. We don't. No one's ever really seen them, but they're in books
mm-hmm,
and even dragons and stuff. But like you talked about, like everyone talks about Epstein right now. But my thing is, okay, we know he's, or we don't. I don't personally know. We have evidence. That's what they're showing us from the media and stuff. What he's doing with these kids. People are coming out and saying he's doing it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the thing is, I mean, growing up in and around the religion, I practice all religions. I don't practice religions. I study all religions. That way I have a
mm-hmm,
full base, even satanic, all that, because I want to see
okay.
where it all comes from. But the
Do,
thing,
do, 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 do.
but the thing is, we all know that Catholic priests and also what's this big one on kid stuff, even regular
Mm-hmm.
priests and people in church have been doing this shit for years. And people actually know that. And we know it for a fact. It's in the news. It comes out every freaking time. So
Yeah,
I'm not backing Epstein up. Don't get me wrong. What he's doing is excuse me. What he's doing is wrong. And I don't I have kids myself. I don't condone to that. But why? I mean, we're holding him accountable. Cool. That's what we should do. But what about
Hmm.
everybody else in this religion and all the faith that's going on right now? What about all those other people that they actually know and no one ever says anything? Even, I mean, look at the Penn State. I'm in Pennsylvania. Penn State, back with the Sandusky and all that stuff. Come on, man.
Hmm.
Like, that's been going on for years. So why is no one saying anything and everyone's saying anything now? Like, what's going on?
I think basically with Epstein specifically, like he had all fingers in all pies. You know, this dude literally knew every position of power. He basically made it his business to kind of become knowing and, rub shoulders with everyone. I mean, look at Trump, right? Like Trump is in the Epstein files like so many times. And don't get me wrong, like you can have the political side on the left or the right. It really doesn't matter. You can't deny the fact that the dude is in the files like so many
Man,
million
there's
times.
everybody in the
And
files. We got celebrities.
yeah, yeah,
There's the
everyone,
thing.
all
Here's
the
the thing.
celebrities.
I don't know if you remember, but about 2 or 3 years ago, when this first happened, right? They were getting ready to
Hmm.
have a trial, all right? They're getting ready to have a trial, and they were getting ready to expose the entire list. And an hour or 2 hours before that list got exposed before the trial, the whole system, the whole court system got DDoSed. Now you know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
DDoS is, being a gamer as me and you are. We all know about that good old DDoS. So who
Hmm.
the heck is DDoS? And not only did they get
It
DDoS,
was it was
but also
probably anonymous. Anonymous says that they have access to the files. So they most likely was one of the anonymous that was trying to get
who
the access back then.
exists?
Most
Well,
likely.
it literally exists. And if they
Yeah.
did, why didn't they give us the list? Why didn't they give us the list? Did they hold it back?
They actually did. They actually did. Anonymous did release the real files recently, and so you can
Okay.
actually check that out, and you can see all of the redacted ones. They're anonymous, actually unredacted, so you can actually check that out yourself online. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. I mean, like the world that we live in, man. The world that we live in is a fucking disgusting place, and at the end of the day, it all comes down to money. Everything is fought over money. I mean, let's kind of talk a little bit about the Iran war, right? Like just for a second. I mean,
I just looked that up on the
this
way here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like right now, everyone is talking about the Iran war. It's obviously, something big that's happening right now. I don't know if you noticed that, like, everything seems to almost be like a distraction. Like, and this happened with COVID as well, and with the
What you're saying.
Ukraine and,
What about
Russian
the
war.
girl?
I don't know. I don't
The
know if
girl's
you remember, right? Like when
yeah.
when COVID was ending, right? Like what was we all talking about? We was all talking about war with Ukraine and Russia. That's what the talk kind of changed from A to B, from COVID to Russian Ukrainian war. And it was like a distraction, And so they use these things as a distraction, and just the same with this Iran war, it is a distraction. Like so we was all talking about Epstein, and then what are we talking about after? We're talking about the Iran war. So, people in power, they guide us as sheep because, some of us are not sheep, some of us are black sheep that basically don't follow the crowd, so to speak, and we kind of try and guide them our own way. And, it seems that like my view on this is that they use war and big events as distractions to try and keep us from really pursuing the real truths in the world. Um,
I love
yeah.
that you say that. Who's that? Every time I talk to people, people are like, yo, they say, they.
That would be the
Who is that?
1%, the
It's the one
elites, the
percenters.
elites. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
deep.
yeah.
That's deep. Do you think like? Do you think like? Because I mean, even when I like look, sometimes I look outside, I'm like, oh, look right. It doesn't seem right. Like you say, you call the black sheep. I don't know if I consider myself a black sheep, but all I know is that I feel like something's not right. But do you think it comes? Do you think like I looked in the other day? I was watching something. They were talking about the Truman Show. Do you think that we're actually on a fucking show? Like, do you think that
Yeah, yeah,
somebody's watching us
we're
or like?
100. Basically, I would kind of refer to the simulation theory at that point.
Really?
So, I don't know if you're familiar with simulation theory.
Nah, tell me about it.
So, so basically, the chances that we're living in a computer program right now is actually a whole lot higher than what any one of us wants to believe is possible. The reason behind that is, I don't know if you guys out there listening has ever played a very realistic, game of some kind. Like, I don't know if you've ever played the new Matrix game, seen how high, definition and, the AI that lives inside that game thinks it's real, it really, really thinks it's real inside that game. And the Matrix itself, man, like it's very possible that we are living in the Matrix right now and that we are in a simulation, because the reality is that if a civilization gets to a point where it's able to create games that's hyper realistic, like the Matrix, right? That can basically pass off as like potentially a real world scenario, then you also have to question, like, are we potentially living in a simulation? Because at the end of the day, you've got like, potentially infinite years that as a human race or as an alien race, who knows, right? Who created the simulation. You've got a potential period of time there where we don't really know how long we've existed for. We have only records that kind of go back so far. But the reality is that, like, if we are being controlled by, like, aliens, or if we're being controlled by a higher consciousness or hive mind or anything, any reason that would try and
Yeah,
control us,
hive
so,
mind, bro. Hive
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Like a
Because
beehive? Like what kind of hive?
like, you don't know exactly what I'm trying to get at is you don't know what means they would have for trying to control us. And so if you can think about this just for a second, if we're able to create games right now as human beings that are hyper realistic, that you wouldn't know the difference, and those AI that lives in that game thinks that it's in a real reality, then the possibility is if you give us an infinite amount of time to basically keep creating these games and they get better and better and better and better, eventually the possibility, the chance that we are just simply the AI living in a game, that we are the NPCs and that our whole lives are just a computer program that was pre-programmed to do what it's meant to be doing, and everyone around us is just living in a pre-programmed world, the same as the Truman Show, and that there is only just one human being in this whole world that is real, and that we're just the NPCs to his life.
Why?
I know
Well,
no
we
one.
said first you said it's his. So do you think it's a guy or could it be a girl?
Potentially, it could be what we consider God. You ever thought about that? That like that one person that's real is God, and that essentially we are living in his world, and that we're just the computer program to God's like life in the computer program,
Wait, okay, so now we're talking like this. Okay, so just imagine, let's just say that you or yourself is God, right? So
Hmm.
just could you just imagine this? All right. So what
Okay.
if you were God, right? But you found out that inside your program, because you're a gamer, you work on computers, you do SEO, right? What if you
Hmm.
found out there's a virus inside your shit? Something like in the they said Matrix, something like Mr. Anderson inside the fucking Matrix. What would you do as God to try to find that fucker? And what would you do? And what would you do to him or that virus? How would you kill it to him or her, whatever God it may be, he or her, whatever? When you're instance you're saying,
I would probably create laws and conspiracies to try and find the bug, the code that was wrong, right? And to try and find certain errors in that code to make themselves appear. Hence, the conspiracist would be the virus. So essentially, right, anyone that brings up bugs in the system, conspiracies, could potentially be a part of that virus to that computer program.
dude, that shit's deep if you really fucking think about it. So I love
Hmm.
that you're talking about this because I actually came across this book because I've been driving truck a lot lately now. So
Hmm.
I'm constantly always working, but when I'm working, I'm listening to audiobooks. And there's this one audiobook that I stumbled across here, and that's why I love Spotify right now because they have audiobooks on there and it's all free, part of the premium. Spotify, if you listen to somebody knows that works at Spotify, shoot me some because I'm gonna put an ad in here because I need that. I need that ad. Let me get some
Plug,
money.
plug incoming,
Yeah,
incoming plug.
that's right. That's right. Plug. Let's get it. Oh, Book and Dagger by Elise Graham. This book is freaking amazing. It's about pretty much how scholars and libertarians became spies in the World War II era. And
Hmm.
some of the stories and stuff that they're talking about is like their own CIA or whatever, the spies, I don't know, CIA or not, but the spies that they're talking about had, what do you call it? I guess rogue agents within their organization. So kind of like in the CIA, there's rogue people that work for them, then other people. And it's like we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the Matrix, or where we believe, or you believe that God made all this, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe someone went rogue with inside that program, and that's the
It
shit
almost
that's
sounds, it
nuts.
almost sounds like you're talking about MK Ultra.
I don't even know what that is. What is it? School me. Put me on MK Ultra. What is
All
it?
right. So MK Ultra, I actually only have a little bit of info about this because this is a bit of a deep conspiracy. So MK Ultra is meant to be a CIA project where basically they would uh hypnotize, as you will, certain sleeper agents that would basically be activated by the Russians or by the Chinese or by the CIA. And they would basically be activated to, commit certain offenses like assassinations attempts and different crazy things.
What?
And MK Ultra would actually work through people's dreams. So they would be able to access them via a dream network. So basically, instead of them calling them on the phone and saying like a code, like what they do in, I don't know if anyone has seen the Marvels films, you've got the Winter Soldier, right? The Winter
Yeah.
Soldier in the Marvel films. He's basically like a MK Ultra sleeper agent. That's pretty much explains what I'm talking about there. Like he was controlled by the Russians to basically change his whole brain pattern, and they give him, code in different words, and he would activate and basically become their secret agent. That's basically what MK Ultra is, except the real life version of MK Ultra is actually even cooler than the Marvel movies. So they actually would access you through your dreams. So they could have sleeper agents all over the world, and they would access a dream network and be able to activate you via the same similar concept. Like they would say certain words in a certain combination to activate you or turn you off. But they could do it for your dreams, which means that they potentially have had the ability since the 70s, 80s of accessing our dreams and pre-programming us. Now, that kind of leads me into 5G networks. Uh, Now, I mean, a lot of you might have heard people, conspiracists, talking about 5G and how the 5G network is potentially a weaponized network, and that, there is worries there that they could essentially activate certain DNA pathways in the body via the 5G signal and essentially harm people. Now, we have considered that a conspiracy for a long time. Now, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, a lot of conspiracies are becoming conspiracy fact. That whole concept about 5G networks being able to harm us, I didn't even believe that when it first was told to me that a 5G network could harm us, because I don't want to believe that. I work in IT, and the whole concept that, 5G is running through my phone right now, I didn't want to believe that. But, I don't know if you were recently familiar with the Venezuela invasion that Trump did, where he basically took over the Venezuela president and within literally a very short amount of time managed to
Oh yeah.
subdue the whole Venezuela army, and he even managed
Right.
to kidnap the president of Venezuela and take him and then take their oil reserves. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So this was actually told to a lot of people openly, that when the Americans came in, they used energy weapons, and it subdued the Venezuelan army immediately. They couldn't move. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Iron Man. In Iron Man films, again, Marvel. It's almost like they're trying to tell us something, right, with these Marvel films. Now, in the Marvel film, they basically use this frequency with these headphones to block the frequency, and it basically subdued everyone. They couldn't move during that energy weapon strike. That's essentially what has happened during that Venezuela invasion that Trump did when he took their president and he took their oil reserves. He used energy weapons. They're called DO weapons, and this is the exact same as what people has been fearing with the 5G networks, that they could
Well,
weaponize them against us.
I believe in the 5G because I remember, being on social media. I mean,
Mm,
we both have pets, and there
mm,
was a picture of like Washington D.C., but they showed the color waves, that animals can see, but we can't see it to the human eye.
Spectrum.
The spectrum,
Spectrum.
right? They're on a different
Yeah.
spectrum, but they could see,
Hmm.
the lights and all that stuff on there and the actual waves. Because I mean, it's
Hmm.
not like you said, it's take your phone out of your pocket, the 5G. Don't put your phone, don't sleep next to your phone. All that stuff is
Hmm.
coming true as technology evolves because, excuse me, even you and I both know you're in IT. I didn't want to go in that field because technology changes every day. When you're in the IT, you got to stay
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it every 30 days. I know a guy
Especially with
that's,
AI.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God.
especially with AI.
Yes.
So the
Hmm.
thing is, like, I know a guy that's my dad, my dad's one of his friends. He
Hmm.
was he's a multi-millionaire. He started a datacom thing, and but
Silicon
his was
Valley kind of stuff, right?
Silicon Valley. He did
Hmm.
his off of he was on DSL, like dial-up network. And he kept I've been talking to my dad, and this is his closest friend. He's like, dude, yeah, he's not doing good. I'm trying to talk to him. I went to go visit him. I'm like, well, what is he doing? He's like, he's still running DSL. I said, why is he still on DSL? Why didn't he go? He said he doesn't want to go back to school. He's like, why didn't you go back to school to go get into fucking files? Or why aren't you? I said, excuse me, I gotta cut this part. But why didn't you go back to school to go to do files, right? Or why didn't you
Hmm.
go to school to learn Wi-Fi or change with the IT? That goes back to saying it changes all the time. But this guy was willing to lose his $1 million company that he had out in
Oh my God.
Colorado, all because he was stingy enough to freaking not adapt and change, right? Kind of same thing
Hmm.
with Kodak. Kodak, they ended up doing bad because they didn't want to leave from film. They didn't want to go from film to the digital age, right? But
Hmm.
that's a little fun little
Kind of
fact.
like
But
Blockbuster, right? They didn't want
well,
to, when they was given the Netflix deal, they didn't want to take it, and
yeah,
they lost everything. Yeah,
they
yeah.
lost everything, and I kind of miss that
Hmm.
type, man. Rolling up like Friday night, and we gotta go get a movie. When I was younger, I always wanted to know what was behind that freaking black curtain. What was Now I know what's behind there now, but I always wanted to know. I
Hmm.
wanted to run back there. Yeah, get that black curtain. But I wanted to bounce back because you were talking about you're saying Marvel with MK
Yeah,
Ultra. I
I
mean,
mean, like just to kind
that
of
sounds
go
way
back a little
far
bit,
out. You really think
like
there's people? You really think they're doing stuff like that? Like, is that
yeah,
really
man.
possible?
Like this is the thing, right? The Illuminati might be like this crazy conspiracy thing, this crazy cult society in people's minds, but like I said, it's conspiracy fact, right? Like a lot of this stuff comes true, and we've been trying to tell you this for a long
Bro,
time.
but really,
The,
Illuminati, come
you
on,
know,
man. Come on, man.
yeah, Illuminati.
Come
Like
on.
it's real, man.
Have you seen anybody in there? Have you been to an Illuminati event?
All right, so if
How
you
do
want
we
to
know?
know, right, like how I know that this stuff exists, so I don't know. You want to call it Illuminati or the Illuminati? It's up to you. But like at the end of the day,
You
it
just know.
exists. What they do is they basically tell us in films, like the Illuminati is Satanists, okay? So the Illuminati has to actually be honest with you. Any Satanist has to tell you their plan. I used to be confused about that as well. I would think like, why would a Satanist want to be honest? Like, why would they not just lie to me? Like, my concept of Satanism would be they're all liars and that they're trying to cheat me, right? But the reality is that a Satanist has to actually tell you the truth. Otherwise, it's not true Satanism, because it's part of their religion. Because remember, Satanism is a religion. It's just not the kind that we want to be following. So, yeah, they have to be honest with you. They have to tell you what their plans are. And the Illuminati are part of a satanic cult. They openly discuss in films and TV series is what their plans are, exactly 30 years from when it's going to take place. So, what I want you guys to do, all of your listeners, is I want you to look at films and series from now on in a different light. I want you to look at anything that was 30 years old, exactly to the date, and then see, does it come true? Is there any truth in that film or series they was trying to tell you 30 years ago? A good example of that might be Terminator, right? I know that hasn't happened exactly, right? But we are pretty much on the cusp of Terminator happening right now. Like Skynet becoming real is essentially Starlink. Like it's pretty much the same thing. Like you've got like a network of satellites all over the world controlling AI and systems, which basically could be the beginning of AI. Yeah, like anyway, so basically Satanism is a real thing. My granddad actually was he was a high level Mason, and the Masons themselves are, a lot of people would say they're part of the Illuminati. I don't know if they are, I don't know if they're not, but they are very much about truth and seeking truth. My understanding of the Masons is they're, a society, secret society, or at least they used to be. Everything right
That's
now
all right.
is,
So I mean, that's what we're talking about. Secret society. So obviously they're not secret, right? So we
no,
talk
no
about
doubt.
there's but here's it's you said it yourself, right? You're telling us all about these conspiracies with the MK Ultra, the Illuminati and
Hmm.
stuff. Everything's on the freaking internet. You can look it up, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you've
So
got
that's why
AI,
I feel
which
like there's no
means
more
how
secrets
you get to
anymore with
believe
anything.
anything. Yeah, yeah, you've
Right.
got AI. I
AI,
can make
AI
a
can do
video
everything.
right now. Anything can appear in that video with that AI, and you will basically say that doesn't exist. That's AI.
But
So,
I
like,
wanted to bounce back because you're talking about every 30 years, right? So have you ever
okay,
seen the movie The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis?
okay, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah,
Okay. That movie now is 29 years old.
okay.
So in that movie, they had flying cars
So, so would you
zooming
would you not
around.
be agreeing then that 1 year from now we will see something with aliens?
Alien? No, not at all, bro. Why
No?
would we see someone with aliens?
So
What,
there's
what,
a
what
film out
movie?
right now called The Undisclosure or something about the undisclosure because I'm sure you've all heard there's Congress meetings where they're discussing openly discussing AI sighting alien sightings of
Bro, that's
different
been going on
beings,
since
things like that.
COVID. I've seen the alien
Yeah.
UFOs when I was younger. That's been going on for years. I know they're there. They won't talk. I mean, they've been putting out videos. That's part of the reason why here in the U.S. we got the pandemic money is because um, Trump didn't want to give it the money out, but he said, you know what? All right, fine. If you guys want me to give you the money, then I'm going to go ahead and you guys got to release all these files, and that's why we have all the files on aliens and UFOs and all that stuff that's out right now. But
Hmm.
everybody knows they're there. I mean, in Berkeley, California, they're doing rituals all the time. They call it aliens here.
So
All right.
you believe in aliens then, yeah? Is that right?
I do. An alien. So an alien is
No.
something that's undescribed, that's unseen, UFO, right? Unidentified object, right? It's something that's
Hmm.
unseen, that's different. But when we're talking about aliens, for instance, I went scuba diving. I seen this slug, or even that, an octopus. Imagine you didn't know what the freaking fucking
Yeah, yeah,
octopus
yeah. You
was,
think it was
or
something
anything
aliens.
underneath the ocean in the dark.
There's a
Like how
there's a
that
very
stuff.
high chance. There's a very high chance that octopuses are aliens and that they just came off of a comet at some point. It's a very high
I
possibility.
mean, we got Darwin's
Yeah.
theory of evolution and how plants and everything
Look how
evolve. I
intelligent
mean,
octopuses are. Like,
you
have
know what I'm
you
saying?
heard
Too?
the
Dolphins
stories
are
about
and
dolphins?
whales.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just about to
they're
say
saying you can't
dolphins.
even
Like,
talk to dog. I didn't know
did
that. I
you
was like, yo, I want to go to a
did
dolphin.
you hear about the story about the guy from the UK that got took hostage by 30 dolphins and they pulled him to the depths of the ocean?
No
Did you hear
way.
about that story?
No.
So
Hold on,
it's
pause. Let me get my.
really, really crazy, bro. Like, I mean, like
This movie
even
undisclosed that you're talking.
you need to pull this up, right? Pull this up on the, all right. So basically, there was this story recently where the guy basically found these dolphins out at sea. He's doing this scuba diving, and these dolphins pulled him to the depths of the ocean, like way lower down. And this is the interesting thing. This guy basically had a very he wasn't even like a conspiracist. This guy was like a normal guy that you would consider not even like he doesn't do any drugs, he doesn't do any alcohol. He literally he even came up on the toxicology thing afterwards as like normal. Like he hadn't any drugs or alcohol in his system when they found him, and he had this insane story, which is incredible. And he basically said that the dolphins, like connect, like I don't know, they spoke to him through his mind, right? And they said that he needs to come down with them to help build this secret city with the dolphins, right? And that he had to go down at certain depths, like at a certain time. So we all know if you do any kind of scuba diving, you know that you can't just keep going down. You're going to get the bends, right? And that you're going to die because the pressure. So these dolphins kept him at certain depths for a certain period of time, and they kept him at a certain depth before they would lower him down to another depth.
How did you not run
And
there?
And this gets really crazy, all right? So like there's even proof that this happened because when they got him, like the humans got him, but when he came back to the surface, they kind of found certain particles on him, right, which they tested. That doesn't happen unless you get to a certain depth, and he didn't have any scuba diving equipment on him to be able to go at those depths. So it's almost like a proof that the guy was at that depth, at least, right? Now this is interesting. So these dolphins basically pulled him down supposedly at certain meters per time before they would pull him down further, and they allowed him to breathe through some new mechanism that he couldn't even understand, right? So his oxygen mask had run out of oxygen at a certain depth, and they carried on using some kind of, science of some kind to basically allow him to breathe. And he gets down to this crazy new depth that no human has even been to, apparently. And they asked him to stay down there for so long to start building this Dolphin City that's down there, right? Like, apparently he was part of a workforce of humans that had to build this city underground. This story is crazy. I told you. It's insane. Now, this is the part that gets really crazy is like apparently when he came up and he told the authorities about this, he didn't have any kind of drugs or alcohol in his system, and the particles that was on his clothes was particles that wouldn't be found at anything like at a higher depth. It was way lower that these particles was found normally, so it kind of like corroborated his story. Now this is really, really crazy and interesting because recently in the UK, there was a bunch of dolphins that turned up on the beach dead. Okay, like absolutely killed. And a lot of people are conspiracy theories, are saying that these dolphins was basically like killed by the dolphin government, right? Because of actually like they shouldn't have like this wasn't something that should have happened,
Dolphin,
and so
go.
this was like basically a sentence to these dolphins that committed like an illegal act by getting a human to help with this city, and essentially killed off all of these dolphins that committed an illegal act to basically use humans as slaves to build this city.
So
It's really crazy. It's really
sounds
insane.
very
I told you,
wild.
bro.
That
Insane.
sounds
Yeah,
very
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
So here's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
What is it? So
I
first of
told you it
all,
was nuts.
how did
Yeah.
this go? How did this guy hold his breath for that long? For one.
That's what I'm saying. Like the guy said that his breathing equipment had ran out of oxygen days, days after days, like
So
it
how did
ran
he?
out.
So how was he set up
And
to work?
so he was
Going
down
through a
there for
blowhole?
30 days. Like
Yeah,
something like 30
going through
days.
a blowhole. He's taking air through the dolphin blowhole.
I don't know, but these dolphins apparently had technologies that we're not aware of, and they'd managed to keep him
Bro,
breathing
dolphin.
down there.
How are they gonna put it? They got fins, bro. There's fins.
Remember, like what we said about the potential possibility that these fish are not all from this planet, and that some of them has come off from meteors, and over the course of potentially millions of years, bro. Like some of these fish are potentially not from this planet. They've came off, over like a meteor or whatever. I mean, I don't know if you recently seen, there's actually facts that we came off of a meteor. As a human civilization, there was a meteor that was found recently that contains all of the human genome. It contains the whole sequence of the human genome. And that is very interesting because it means that we are being seeded around the universe. And essentially, if there's a meteor that contains only the genetics of the human genome, then you've got a question, right? Like, are we the only humans in the universe, or are we just the bacteria on a
Oh,
rock that
come
the
on.
right conditions?
Hey, that's what I'm saying,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Like, what's that movie? Who in here's a who? You ever hear that one, Doctor?
Or Prometheus. Okay, Prometheus would be a good
Yes.
movie.
My thing is, man, these are all visual things, man. That's why it's called entertainment. I mean, that's like
Hmm.
me saying, all right, the music.
Or is it them telling you, like I told you, is it them telling you 30 years later, and they've got to tell you, they say in this, right? The Illuminati work within the Hollywood industry to tell us stuff,
So here we go. We're talking about Satanism and stuff. Like I told you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't practice it, but I read the Satanic Bible. I read,
Wow.
yeah, Bro, I have to. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness.
Know thy enemy, right? Know thy
Yeah,
enemy.
yeah, know that enemy. But my thing is, I like talking to people with religion. And the thing is, the reason why I do that, I did I looked into the Yahweh thing. I even read the
Hmm.
Quran, the Christian Bible, the King James, the New King James, all of them. I forget
Okay,
what
I got a
the
question for
Jewish
you. I got
one.
a question. I got a question. So if you've read all of the different scriptures, would you not agree that the scriptures are a place to control humans? That it's all about control.
I don't think so because it's all about how you grasp it. Okay, it's all about how you grasp
Hmm.
it. I mean, earlier you said, earlier you said, God made all this. We're in the matrix. Everything's being controlled. But then also you said that we could be a spot in a bubble, and then a meteor came down. And we're all on the meteor. So
Or
did
just a
God make that?
bacteria on a rock
Or
that
did we
got in
come
the
down
right
from the human?
conditions,
We
you
get
know?
the
Yeah,
human
yeah.
genome from the meteor. Like we don't know what the fuck is really going on.
I mean,
But
science
anyway,
just said that that's what happened. Like, that we literally have just found a meteor that no other meteor in history has ever been found
I
until
mean, you
now
said
that
science though.
contains our DNA, you know? And
So
this is the first one.
there's a
So,
lot of people who don't believe in the theory of evolution and Darwin's theory of evolution. You got people who believe that Adam and Eve was first, but you got Darwin over here who believes that it was
yeah, yeah,
it
there's
was the
beliefs for everything.
Neanderthals and everything like that, and
Hmm.
everything slowly became more and more. But then you got people that
Hmm.
think we just came from Adam and Eve, right? Banging,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
came together, but and started.
There's nothing wrong with having a religious belief. My concept is in between. Like, I might be based upon science, but I also believe that religion has its place.
I like
I
that. I
feel
like that.
like, there's nothing wrong with having an in-between view. I don't understand why everyone's like either just science or just religion. It would be nicer to see some evolved humans that understand that both have its place, right? And that like there's a reason for both existing still, and that there's a reason for so many people believing in them. There's a reason, and at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong if you want to believe in religion of any kind, or if you want to believe in science, that's fine. It's up to you, At the end of the day, I don't believe that either is right or wrong, you
I'm
know?
gonna like what you said there is like evolution of humans, evolving humans, meaning
Hmm.
growing and growth. So there's a book that's called The Emperor's Physician. And my
Hmm.
grandma, one time I actually took it from her house because she wasn't
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
it in the bookshelf. But it talks about these physicians, right? That were traveling through the time when Jesus was walking around, healing people, touching people, bringing them back to life and shit. Like that.
Cheers.
But these people they were doctors and they were traveling
Hmm.
along and they actually ran into Jesus and they actually worked together. So they were using the spiritualness or the magic, right? The magic,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're using the medical side, with the physicians
Hmm.
coming together. So the science and then the religion. But here we're talking about religion, right? We're talking about Illuminati, Satanism. All is it vape pen time? The vape pen. So
I'm just gonna hit that vape once because I don't know what's gonna happen if I keep hitting that vape. So,
you fall
yeah.
asleep. It's almost 1 a.m. over there. So then we talk about
One and done. One and done. Yeah.
so we talk about religion, right? So
Mm.
I've run into people. So everyone, mostly people think, oh, we love God. If I disobey God, my life's not going to go right. If I don't pray, bad things are going to happen, right? But
Hmm.
like you said, there's Satanism people, right? So I talk to people
Hmm.
who are satanic and their lives are fine, right? And I talk to people who are godly people. My uncle's a pastor, stuff like that. Their lives are fine. And I
Yeah.
talk to people who are spiritual people like myself. I don't pray or anything, I go out, I get grounded, I do my yoga, and my meditations, and
Hmm.
my life is fine. I don't pray or
Right,
nothing.
right,
And
right.
then you got people who are atheists now. Hold me to this, because atheist people, a lot of people don't know. Atheists do not believe in Satan, and they do not believe in God. They don't believe in any
Yeah,
spiritual.
yeah. Most
Most
people
people
believe
don't
an
know that,
atheist is actually a Satanist, but that's not
right?
true.
And
An
that's
atheist is
exactly
someone that doesn't believe in anything, and they have
anything.
no belief.
And that's
Nothing.
what I wanted. I wanted to build on that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you know that because a lot of people don't because
Hmm.
they're ignorant. But that's what I'm saying, man. Like, their lives are fun. So I really think like religion is really like a mindset, and even life is like a mindset. And I wanted to bounce this back because you're saying like the Illuminati is all like demonic evil stuff, right? But
So look,
if
this
you don't
this is what
believe
it
in it,
comes
how
down
would you be
to.
an Illuminati though? Like if
This
you,
this
I'm
is
just
what it
saying,
comes down to, bro.
how
Like
is
I
somebody
know
in it? Do you have to
you
believe in
might
religion?
you might not agree with me, but like everything comes back to control. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's religion or science or not believing in anything, like an atheist or an agnostic that doesn't understand if either is true. Like the reality is it all comes back to control, all right? Like the reason why control is so important is because the 1%, the elites, the ones that control this world, the Rothschilds, the Vanguard, just the people that own this world. I don't know if you're familiar with Rothschild or Vanguard. They basically have a share in every single company in the world, which means they own the world. Okay. Now, if everything comes back to money, then the people that own us, by the way, they own us, right? Like you literally have a barcode, technically, just the same as the Matrix. Like, uh, this is probably
That's
a
what our
story
social
for
security
another time.
system is here in America. Most people don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like your social
That's my
security
number.
number is your barcode
All right.
essentially, and you are just like a product that's owned by a corporation. And if you wanted to know who that corporation is, that basically would be Rothschilds or it would be Vanguard. They basically own you. You don't actually really exist other than being like a product of their company. Anyway, so going back to what I was saying,
Well, I want to
like.
get my pie. I want my piece of the pie. How do I get my piece of pie?
Look, man, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, if we are all about control, if everything in the world is about control, so you fall in line as a people, everything, like racism, sexism, religion, sports, everything, it's just a form of control to either put you on the left or on the right. So that would be politics as well. All of it is just a form of control, right? So what they want you to not be focusing on them, right? Because if you're focusing on the people that own you, which would be the Rothschilds and Vanguard, then you are not focused. Like if you're focused on them, then you're able to create a change. But if you're focused on what they want you to be focused on, which would be like racism, sexism, politics, sports, or religion, right? These are all basically created to make you distracted so you don't focus on them. Because remember, they own every company in the world. Everything comes back to money, COVID, everything, war, everything comes back to money. So if money is the root of all evil, and the
I think
people that
money is.
own,
It's the love of the money. Love of the money.
yeah, wow, the love, whatever, it's money. So the point is, right, if you are caring about money, then you need to understand why you care about money. You care about money because the richest company in the world wants you to care about money, which would be Vanguard and the Rothschild, right? One of the oldest companies in the world. Now, I don't know if you know about the Rothschild. Your listeners might not know about them, but they basically are very influential. They've always been in history for a reason, influencing different businesses. That's how they've got to the point they are right now, where they're one of the most interesting, amazing companies in the world. I mean, let's be real, right? Any company that owns every company in the world is amazing. That's an incredible company right there, man. You've got to have some serious power to be able to own every company in the world. When I say own, I just mean they own a certain share. Like if you look at the stock market of every company in the world, you can check this, right? This is verifiable evidence. Every single company in the world has their stocks, yeah? They own stocks of their
Correct.
company,
Correct.
shares, right?
Yeah.
Every single company, including Tesla or SpaceX, one of the richest men in the world is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Even his companies are owned by Rothschild and Vanguard, right? Uh, so at the end of the day, right, it all comes back to money. You are made to look the other way because they want you to look the other way. They're the 1%. If you realize that you're the 99%, and that racism doesn't matter, sexism doesn't matter, being transgender doesn't matter, religion doesn't matter, and that sports doesn't matter, and politics doesn't matter, then you would be focused on the real agenda, which is the 99% versus the 1%. They don't want you to focus in that direction. Because if you focus, truly focused as a people, 99% towards the 1%, you would make changes that you couldn't imagine. And they don't want that information out there. That's the facts, right? Like, that is something that they will not want you to know, that you're powerful, right? That you have power as being part of the 99%. It would be so easy to get rid of the 1%, is what I'm saying, right? Like, they
So
might have all the money in the world, but they don't have all the power, because the real power comes from being part of the majority, and you are the majority, right?
it sounds, I am the majority. It sounds like you're trying to start a regime here on this podcast or something.
No,
Okay, a
no, no, no.
regime or
I'm
something.
just, I'm
No.
just giving you the
Come on, don't
facts.
get me canceled.
That
This is only the fifth episode already,
every,
man.
every
Don't
conspiracist knows this,
you're
bro.
trying to
That
get me on
you, as a
this one.
people, are 99%. It's true, and they're 1%.
He's
And
trying to
so
get me
the
on
reality is,
the list. He's trying to get
yeah,
me on a
yeah.
watch list.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
And now,
if you wanna
now
make it,
I can't go out and drink
if
anymore.
you wanna become, the next Joe Rogan podcast,
I don't
right?
want to be coming next Joe Rogan.
This is how it's done, brother. This is how it's done. All right.
And
This is
also the
like
public camera too, right? Because you can't see the new
this
first.
is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, when you talk about these types of subjects that they don't want you to talk about, then you are in a different league compared to the other podcasts, right? This is what Joe Rogan talks about on his show,
Yeah, I'm glad Joe Rogan
and
is. Now I'm gonna need
you
security.
know,
Crazy.
obviously we all like watching a little bit of Joe Rogan, but look, I could tell you something about Joe Rogan, which most people don't understand. Joe Rogan is Aleister Crowley, right? So Aleister Crowley,
Another
I don't know
another
if you,
conspiracy.
yeah,
Alistair
yeah, yeah,
Crowley. That was the guy
Aleister
from
Crowley, the Demon King, right? The
UK.
Demon King.
Totally.
So, I don't know if you ever familiar with the Demon King. So if anyone here has ever watched Supernatural, the TV series, you
You
might
are
be,
telling man. You are PD.
well, like I told you, man, they tell you 30 years later the reality of what's actually happening. And so, like, Aleister Crowley was a human being that basically gave his soul to become the Demon King when Lucifer, Satan, was locked up in a cage. And the reality is that Aleister Crowley uses trades. He will buy your soul. And there has been many a time where Joe Rogan has been on a podcast talking about souls and buying them, and he just seems to know things that no human should know, even a conspiracist shouldn't know.
He
And
read books.
you know,
He reads.
like, there's actually proof
How do
that
you know about
this is
it?
real as well. Like, if you look into this, right, is Aleister Crowley and Joe Rogan the same person? Like, there's a scar on his face that's in the same place as the human that was Aleister Crowley before he was turned into the Demon King.
1 second here. Hold on.
So
1 second. I think it's
yeah, yeah, you're good, man. Look,
yellow.
all I know is, right, this world is a lot more complex than anyone wants
Yellow.
to give it credit for, and everything comes back to money, right? Like, everything is based upon greed and money, and the best we can do as human beings is just live a good life and be honest, be ourselves. And everything will be okay, man. Just don't worry so much, because the reality is that that's what they want you to do. They want you to fear things. For some reason, they seem to get off on it. They seem to get more powerful on your fear. And so my recommendation to you all would be to stop fearing and love a little bit more. Okay? Just be open, keep an open mind to what the possibilities are in this world, and the world will be a better place. For sure. But yeah, man. This has been Real HD here, signing in on this podcast for you guys. Welcome back, Beely.
What's up? So yeah, you're
That's good.
talking about what is it? Aleister Crowley, right?
Yeah, I was just discussing with the folks out there about what Aleister Crowley
Aleister.
does and, who he is and, if you, like I say, if you want to check out, this TV series Supernatural, there's Aleister Crowley in there. He's the Demon King. And, he's basically a human that gave up his soul to become the next Lucifer, the Demon King. And there's a lot of possibilities that the Joe Rogan that we all love, is actually Aleister Crowley. Because what a incredible position in the world it would be to become someone like Joe Rogan and at the same time be the Demon King. To have access to everyone like that,
That
you
would be
know?
something crazy. And my
Mm.
computer is yelling at me to plug it and give me a sec because it needs some juice. Because
Oh, you're good.
I'm tired of this
You're good,
computer
bro.
out.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, I have that effect.
My camera on.
You can't do a podcast without a camera, man. Come on now. Wait on a bit. Well, look, I think what we're gonna do, bro, is I think we're coming up to like 56 minutes now.
Roughly 56
So
minutes. It was going good here.
there you
So
go.
there's some notes that I did write down because my food just got here, so I forget what.
I got you.
But so
Is there anything you wanted to add to today's podcast?
nah, bro. I think we touched everything because you brought up religion. Well, we talked about so us being the matrix. So you said there's a matrix and God put us in here, right? And then
Simulation theory. Yep.
simulation theory, right? So there's like two different theories. Then what are we really in? But then just earlier the other day, I was laying down and something popped up on my Facebook. I was laying down for a bit. They were talking about
Hmm.
Anunnaki, and
Oh, the
they were saying
Anunnaki.
they were here first, and we were put here to work, and that
Hmm.
humans started breeding with everybody. So,
Hmm.
what theory
You're on
is
about
true?
you're on about the Nephilim, yeah, the ones that they consider the half gods,
I
like
don't know.
Hercules.
Yeah, I
Hercules
don't know
is
anything about
Nephilim.
it. Yeah, yeah.
All
So,
right, so do you want me to touch base on that before I go a little
yeah,
bit?
yeah, yeah. Touch base on this.
Okay. All right. So the Anunnaki is basically an alien race, supposedly, that is from another time. They're supposedly the ones that allowed us to create the pyramids, the ones that gave us control to begin with. Now, the Anunnaki are potentially real. It's a very high possibility. And, they mated with human beings to create demigods, which we know in Greek mythology, like Hercules. There's even, facts throughout history of them, of basically half god, half human. So they basically mated with humans to create demigods. And there is some, history of that within our Greek mythology, of like Hercules and different demigods. Now, something that's interesting about the Anunnaki is, there's a lot of information about the Anunnaki as being an alien race far superior to ours that seeded us here. They first created a version of us that was way less complex, let's say. Well, ones that couldn't really do what we can do today, but basically a slave race that could just be used to create pyramids and mine resources for them, because that's what they wanted. They wanted resources. I don't know if that's gold, silver, I don't know. But the point is they came from another planet and they wanted a slave race. And so they basically mined this planet and they used all human beings, no matter what color you are, as slaves. And there's a high possibility, man, because we definitely came from being very primitive humans to very fast, becoming very advanced with our pyramids and stuff like that. And so there's a high chance that that happened. Also, there's actually some very recent information that not Harvard, Oxford University, uh, actually received a message recently from the Anunnaki. So, let me just wait a second for this connection to finish. It says it's connecting. Oh, we've been censored, apparently. I don't know if he's still connecting. I don't know if you can hear me still. I don't know. Let me just quickly end with this, and we'll see if this records at the end. So basically, Oxford heard of a signal from the Anunnaki recently, warning us of an alien race that was coming very far away and traveling towards Earth at a very fast rate. And yeah, they're apparently they were warning us that we are apparently the Anunnaki was saying they were scared of what is possibly coming towards us. So we'll see if that's true. Anyway, I'm gonna end that there, guys. It's been Rose HD, and it's been Rose talking to you. You guys have a great day. Peace. See you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in. It's B Lee with the Talk with B podcast. I appreciate you tuning in today. And I want you to like and share and subscribe. And of course, always share the podcast. And hopefully we're going to have a nice episode for you next Tuesday.